I'm at the tail end of editing this vlog, and seeing that it was gonna end kind of like that is a bit depressing, because the point of these vlogs is not to passively ask for more money by showing you a situation like that, but just to capture the reality as I go through this process day by day. And in this case, the reality of me learning this brand new piece of information through sample clearances. So let's just run through it from the top, shall we? I have this insane clip to show you guys that has not seen the light of day. This past Christmas, I was asked to digitize some VHS tapes for one of my mom's old co-workers. He wanted to digitize these VHS tapes as a Christmas gift for his wife. I have the converters and the means to do all that stuff. One of these tapes had nothing to do with this man's family, but it was taped from the news itself. And he had filmed all these just news stories for the day. And one of these clips is a never before seen clip of James Brown talking about artists sampling his work.
To sample is fine if it's your food and not mine, but rappers and singers beware. Sampling music could make you lose it if the piper is not paid. Well, I wouldn't make very much as a rapper, but as CNN's Lisa Johnson-Smith explains how some rappers have made big bucks by taking samples of music from other artists.
You can't touch this. Yo, let me bust my phone lyrics.
Rap artist MC Hammer sampled a Rick James song and soared to superstardom.
Without the sample, there would have been no record. It was very important.
Vanilla Ice sampled David Bowie and became the flavor of the month.
Almost every major rap record in history is either borrowed or sampled.
Sampling is the process of electronically copying bits of sound from another artist's recording, a practice which is widespread among rap artists.
It's an art because now we change it around. We'll take that beat and this bass line and another bass line and put my own little keyboards and my own little scratching sounds to it and turn it into a whole nother record.
But this creativity can sometimes carry a hefty price tag in the form of buyouts, royalties, and licensing fees, or in worse cases, result in a lawsuit if the correct procedures are not followed. Rapper Biz Markie was ordered by a judge to remove his entire album from record store shelves after being sued by songwriter Gilbert O'Sullivan for sampling from his 1972 hit Alone Again Naturally.
When the Biz Markie case happened, it kind of made people realize that sampling is not only an art, but it's a business too. And what I mean by that is that you have to be very careful about the legal and business issues related to the act of sampling.
We have been so heavily involved in the area of sampling.
Since that ruling, record companies have been taking steps to protect their artists. EMI Publishing has even instituted seminars to teach their songwriters how to sample with minimal risk.
And we have found that some of our writers have had to give up as much as 50 or 75% of a hit record in order to settle a sampling claim. And our feeling is, if it had been done properly, if it had been licensed in advance of the release of the record, that wouldn't be the case.
The godfather of soul, James Brown, has been sampled more than any other artist around, but he only has one objection.
And I feel very flattered that they love me enough to do that. But what really hurts about the whole thing is my attorneys say they're taking advantage of a great situation because the record company's not paying us.
Lisa Johnson-Smith, CNN Entertainment News, New York.
Insane. So what does that mean now? So nowadays, there are all these procedures and things put in place to make sure that no artist is going to get taken advantage of in regards to sampling. Meaning that the label, the writers, the artists are all going to get compensated if someone wants to sample their work. Even digital distribution sites such as DistroKid and TuneCore, they have procedures set in place to where they will not distribute your music if you have uncleared samples, because they become liable there's basically like a 3-strike thing set in place to where if you get 3 strikes, like on your record of posting things on major digital distribution sites involving samples, 3 strikes and you can no longer post material. It's very stringent, so I can't be like the olden days and just kind of cross my fingers and hope to get away with not clearing these samples, especially because we live in a day and age where technology is so advanced. Places like YouTube have just crazy means of detecting sampled work. Now, there are still these cases where producers and artists will sample things to where they just become absolutely unrecognizable, and they're still able to get away with it. That's still going on to this day. But for the most part, when it comes to samples, in order to release them to the world, you have to have them legally cleared, which is why I got on the phone with sampleclearance.com is what I believe it was. They've cleared stuff for like Daft Punk and Ariana Grande. I mean, they've cleared samples for everyone in the industry. Extremely reliable source, very friendly. And so after a few emails of going back and forth, I just asked, hey, could you just give me a call so I can make sure I understand this email? The woman from the UK was so friendly and so helpful. So what I thought is, so like if I use an Earth, Wind & Fire song and a new piece of work, I had to get that cleared one time, and it was a one and done deal. And I thought it'd go something like this. Hey, record label of Earth, Wind & Fire, or the writers involved, whoever wrote this particular song, how do you guys feel about a 90-10 split? You know, or they would say something like, yeah, we'll take 10% of your song and you can keep 90%, basically like a writer share, and we'll go about our day. That's what I thought all it was. Come to find out, that is what is known as a publishing clearance, but there's this other thing called a mastering clearance, and that clearance is the thing that is going to kill me. What I mean is, in that email, when I said this right here, if you use 20 samples, then you will need to budget for 20 master advances that will be payable to the rights owner, and in a few instances, there may be non-recoupable pub fees payable too. Come to find out, this is what this means. This upfront fee for the sample could be tens of thousands of dollars just for one. So in this email, I was like, hey, just quote me for the use of 20 samples in one album. And that's when she was like, yeah, this is not 20 clearances, but 40 clearances because of the mastering clearances. And so that means God knows how much money the labels and writers would ask for up front. The good news is this though, there is however a light at the end of the tunnel. And this is what she advised me to do. She said if they are reperformed, if I had the means of going through and retracking these, reperforming these parts, whereas I'm not using the original master in a new work, but I'm almost covering it in a way, it would only have to go through a publishing clearance and I wouldn't have to worry about the mastering clearance. In order for these songs to come to light, I have got to gather musicians from airgig.com, from around here, and I've got to re-record some stuff. I thought the biggest expense involving this entire process was going to be just the fee of paying a company to be the middleman for me to contact all the proper parties to clear these songs, to clear these samples. So I gave my good buddy, Jeremy Gilliam, also known as Jay Gill, a call, and I was like, dude, how are we gonna do this? What am I gonna do? And he was like, dude, don't worry about it. We got this. Your best bet is to probably have these parts re-recorded and then you re-sample them into the song so it has that sort of, that same spirit and that same tone. And I totally agree with him. So Jay Gill is basically the co-producer of this whole project at this point, based on how much help he's going to be helping me. We're going to save a lot of money by re-recording these parts, but it just means that there's just going to be a lot more work. I hope this explanation wasn't boring. In regards to your support, man, again, I can't say thank you enough because it's such a help. The littlest bit of help is so huge. And also, all that being said, if you ever come to a point where you're not financially capable to support yourself before supporting me, cancel however much money you're paying to me and take care of yourself. Because guys, I totally get it. I totally get that life happens and things come up. I'm never going to get offended. I'm never going to get my feelings hurt because I understand how it goes. Thank you all again for your wonderful generosity, and have a wonderful week this week. Peace.